Okay, so we're gonna watch a little bit of ShoeOnHead. If you don't know her, she's a YouTuber, I would say pretty famous. She's my favorite female YouTuber, I'm not gonna lie. She usually, I don't want to say fights against feminism, but I feel like she's vouching for the common sense and logic to be used in this kind of gender war. So definitely I would recommend to check her YouTube out. I'll leave the link in the description. And without further ado, let's watch her newest video. It's called The Male Loser Epidemic.
Friends, sorry I've been gone for quite a bit. Hopefully nothing too crazy happened. I feel like every time I take a break, like a war breaks out or something, but
that's true.
Thankfully that did not happen. But at least we found out the real Epstein files were the friends we made along the way. Welcome back to the ShoeOnHead channel. If it is your first time here, run. I am ShoeOnHead, and on this channel I like to cover cultural issues mostly surrounding men's issues. It's what I've been doing for over a decade, and frankly, I'm exhausted. Many of you have been along for the ride, and you have seen me go from a chipper, lively 24-year-old making fun of BuzzFeed and Tumblr feminists, to a bitter, calloused 34-year-old talking about very real and growing men's issues. One of the main men's issues I have been covering in great detail lately has been the male loneliness epidemic. Yeah, but turns out I was wrong. We don't have a male loneliness epidemic. We have a male loser epidemic. It's not a male loneliness epidemic. No, it's a male mediocrity epidemic. It's a male loser epidemic.
The male loser epidemic has gotten so bad that it's honestly so pathetic at this point.
You're gonna listen to someone cleaning her face or whatever, making a video? Really? Really?
Now, I don't always talk about men's issues. No, sometimes I talk about politics, and sometimes I mix the two together. Now, I know a lot of you don't like politics, you don't care about politics, but politics cares about you, and it will enter your life no matter how hard you try to avoid.
Yeah, it feels like politics nowadays is just all over you. I don't know if it's if you realize that when you get older, because I'm 36, right? And now it feels like everything that's going on with my life is affected by politics. And I live in Canada. I don't live in the US, right? But I'm obviously watching the news over there as well. Literally, it looks like everything that's good or bad for you has some politic background.
It. But thankfully, I have the perfect app to help you navigate this difficult, confusing political landscape. So let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor,
we're not
Ground
skipping
News,
the app
before we get into this video, shall we? Ground News is a website and an app that gives readers a fun and transparent way to read the news from all across the political spectrum, from left, right, and center. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of the political bias, ownership, and headlines that helps you understand the full story and make sure you're getting both sides. One of my favorite features from Ground News has to be the blind spot feature, which shows you news stories that have been covered by only one side of the political spectrum and ignored by the other. For example, here is a story about how the CIA uncovered a Russiagate fraud, and right away we can see how it has been covered by 41 sources, and out of those 41 sources, 93% of them lean right, with only 2 left-wing outlets reporting the story. Ground News also makes it really easy to compare headlines to see just how political bias can affect the framing of a story. For example, this story about Zohran Mamdani winning the Democratic primary in New York. This left-leaning outlet says Zohran Mamdani's win just got a little sweeter. And meanwhile, the right-wing outlet says, meet Zohran Mamdani, the man who will ruin New York. As you can see, very different vibes.
Yeah,
I've been using Ground News since 2021 because I think it is so informative, so fun, and it helps me see how different stories are framed so differently, and I love it. I highly recommend it. It's one of the few apps that I wake up and just immediately check. But don't just take my word for it. Even the Nobel Peace Center called it an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview. High praise. Best of all, I am currently offering 40% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all of their amazing features. This comes out to only like $5 a month, which is like the price of a coffee. So go to ground.news/shoe or use the QR code right there on screen or the link in the video description down there to subscribe to Ground News today. I feel like what they're doing is really important, especially right now, and it helps us approach the news in a more fair and balanced way. So thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you.
Not gonna lie, it sounds like helpful app. I know I had multiple discussions with my mom who lives in Czech Republic, right? And the coverage over there regarding President Trump is completely different than the coverage over here. And even over here, you need to look at your sources, right? Like some of the sources will look only at his failure, which is very similar to what's going on in European news regarding Donald Trump. And they don't mention all of these W's he has. They don't mention that he's deporting illegal aliens. They will mention something like that he's deporting immigrants, which, again, rhetoric matters in this case. Immigrant is not the same thing as illegal alien, right? So if you're interested in politics, this sounds definitely like a good app.
Viewer for not skipping the ad. Right? Now let's get back to the video. With all these issues men are facing, they seem to be moving to the right and the Republicans more, since the left and Democrats have essentially just become the young men eat and die movement. Months ago, I covered how the Democratic Party was losing young men, and I predicted Kamala Harris would lose in part because of young men overwhelmingly voting for Trump. And I was correct. Man. Well, now the Democrats have unveiled their final solution to the right-wing male loser epidemic. Democrats spending millions to learn how to speak to American men and win back the working class. Democrats have blown millions of dollars on efforts to appeal to American men who turned to President Donald Trump in droves on Election Day in hopes of winning back the working class. Democrats have...
Man, just give me 1 million and I'll let you know. I mean, I don't live in the US, but I bet it's the same everywhere. First, stop demonizing the heterosexual Caucasian man or just heterosexual man, right? Because out of nowhere with Democratic Party, and here in Canada, we're liberal as well, right? So it's very similar to how it used to be under Joe Biden, unfortunately. Yeah, what can I say, right? But anyway, unless you're male who's part of LGBTQ, no one gives a fuck about you. And pardon my French, but again, I live in Canada, you know, French is kind of second language over here. But anyway, yeah, so unless you're part of LGBTQ, no one cares. Like, and if we talk about DEI, for example, you have certain percentage of people you need to hire, right? Certain percentage of people in certain groups like LGBTQ, minority immigrant, again, not a Caucasian immigrant, that doesn't count, and especially if you're male, because it literally asks you if you're female, male, if you're visibly immigrant or minority, if you're native, if you worked in army. Actually, in army, that's probably what, yeah, if you're a Caucasian man who didn't work in the army, sucks for you. But anyway, then LGBTQ. So if you're part of these groups, you automatically have like bonus points, right? So you can literally get rejected only because you're male, you're man, you're guy. And I worked in Amazon for like 2 years, 3 years, and they have these affinity groups. And it's like, yeah, why would I need an affinity group, right? I don't think like I'm somehow special, don't get me wrong. But then they had like 14 of them. They had LGBTQ, was called literally Blacks of Amazon, right? Women, family, Asians, Latinos. So pretty much everyone but Europeans, but men, but. So if you're European heterosexual man, sucks to be you, sucks to be me. Out of nowhere, you're discriminated because they made so many groups and just skipped one group. And it's just ridiculous to put the people in this group. Like That on its own is discrimination. But yeah, let's get back to it. So what Democrats are doing is they're demonizing the Caucasian male. Everything's obviously toxic masculinity. If you're trying to be good dad, toxic masculinity. So maybe stop with that. Try to support young, normal families.
Spent $20 million on their efforts, with donors and strategists holing up in luxury hotel rooms, brainstorming how to convince working class men to return to the party. Ah yes, nothing more relatable to working class men than luxury hotel rooms.
Yeah, right.
Great job, guys. The plan? Codename SAM, or Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, promises to use the funds to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. The effort also recommends Democrats buy advertisement in video games, among other things. The Democratic Party is treating young men like exotic animals they're studying. Now, as you can see here, is the young man in his natural habitat.
No way!
In a dark...
That's the guy! Osmond, man. How I said that ShoeOnHead is my favorite female YouTuber, well, Osmond is my favorite streamer. Like, if you didn't check him out, check him out. His opinions, down to earth. I don't agree with 100% of them, but still. A lot of people actually calls him right-wing, but he's more centrist. Like, to me, sometimes his opinions are too liberal, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's a good example.
Bessie cave surrounded by Taco Bell wrappers and empty Mountain Dew bottles.
Yeah,
Here is another young man, as you can see, also dwelling in a dark cave.
Blue hair.
This one has dyed his hair blue to scare off potential predators. Unfortunately, it also scares off potential mates. But moving on, here is another young man, we think. We're not quite sure about this one. We're still studying it. Listen, Democrats, instead of spending $20 million to do that stupid maybe you should, I don't know, actually listen to men. I listen to men for free all the time. All I have to do is read my comment section. Let's see here. ShoeOnHead is a perfect example of why we need to repeal the 19th. Greetings from Albania. I hate women so much it's unreal. Ooh, shoo, mommy, milkies, 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 mommy, mommy, mommy.
Dude.
One time I got my penis stuck in a soda bottle. Okay, on second thought, maybe my comment section is not the best source.
Since Trump scored big with young male voters last election, Democrats are spending $20 million to learn how to speak their language. I think it's a waste of money. Maybe these guys should spend their money on teaching men to not be such sexists. Maybe that...
Here we go. Here we go. Another bullshit. What are you talking about? Sexist. Maybe try to do something for the man. Rather than villainizing them, demonizing them, trying to make it higher for them to get a job. Because, you have quotas that you need to fill. And somehow all of these quotas are for the people who are not a man. And you know what's ridiculous if you think about it? Man in the women's sport. That's okay according to Democrats. So unless you're a man who, at least for the interview, says he's a woman, sucks to be normal.
But the stats don't bear that out now. Look at what young women have to choose from.
One.
The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash.
Oh.
How do you react to it without it sounding sexist, right? Well, first of all, let's look what women have to offer as well, right? I don't know. Let's maybe look at yourself first before you start judging others, because maybe the successful young men are just not interested in you. Maybe there's something that they don't like, and I'm not saying anyone should give up, but hey, it's freaking hard to find a job. And if you find a job, it's freaking hard to afford your own apartment from one salary. I'm honestly not blaming anyone who stays with their parents until they have money for down payment, or until they're financially stable, until they have some emergency fund or something like that, right? That someone stays with the parents doesn't mean that they're just, I don't know, lazy, right? It's ridiculous. And let's just think about or talk about one thing. So all of these women are so successful, right? Living on their own. When you live on your own for the first time, are you moving in with your boyfriend or no? I don't know, like it's easy to blame just one party, right? But I don't think that's the way to look at it.
Oh no. The very night I was sitting on my couch writing the script to my video about how the Democrats are spending $20 million to relate to young men, this came on my TV on Fox News. A Tommy Lahren and Laura Ingraham segment about stay-at-home sons, men who still live at home. Literally minutes after this aired, it went absolutely viral on Twitter for not good reasons. So we are going to unpack this piece by piece. Because even though everyone was mocking it and making fun of it, as far as I saw, nobody was really dissecting it and breaking down exactly why she was so egregiously wrong. So come join me in debunking the male loser epidemic. Because who else better equipped to talk about men's issues than two stupid blonde bimbos? Hold on one second. 3 stupid blonde bimbos. Sorry.
Wait, is that a wig or?
All right, let's go. Wait. I need my gamer fuel. See? I do drink it. That one's for you, Tectone.
It's a major problem. And you know, Speaker Johnson has been talking about those maybe deadbeat folks that are on Medicaid, and maybe some of those folks are the stay-at-home sons. We don't know. But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. But Laura, I gotta tell
what the Democrats did for these 4 years, like, yes, you're attacking male, but what about female? What about other groups? Right over there, it's okay to be on antidepressants, having crash outs every time. I don't know.
This is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. You know, that's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from.
No, we blame it on government.
Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement in order.
Who did that? Democrats. If you want to have kids, family, take care of your wife, possibly have a stay-at-home mom, it's called toxic masculinity. Like, I'm sorry, you fought against it for 4 years and now you're surprised that some of the guys are softer? Because, like, even going to the gym was called toxic masculinity. So what's your idea of having a man that's good quality? Like, if you take care of your body in the gym, that's toxic masculinity. If you want to be provider for your family, that's toxic masculinity. If you want to have family, be a good father, that's a toxic masculinity. So what are the other options?
DoorDash, and that's why we have declining birth rates and a lot of other problems in society. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air, meet people in real life. Let's just get back to basics.
So first of all, this stay-at-home son thing is not a real thing. It was a random throwaway, self-deprecating joke some contestant on Jeopardy said. One f***ing guy. Because I guess there's nothing else important going on that they could cover on the news. They literally made this into a fake phenomena so they can on young men. Meanwhile, Democrats are spending millions of dollars trying to win back young men. Oh no, the young men are leaving us in droves. How do we get them back? Don't worry. I got this.
She nailed
Hey, you
it.
fat, lazy, Cheeto dust-covered slobs. You. Nice. Thanks. I love you. I love you too.
Okay.
Is the amount of young men living home with their parents increasing? Yes. Is it because they're lazy bums and just want to order DoorDash all day?
Not
No.
necessarily.
And also, they're not paying for DoorDash, Tommy. They're financing it. Come on. Get with the times.
There are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And that's why we have declining birth rates. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air.
Have either of you tried applying for a job as a young man recently?
Yeah,
or tried
exactly.
buying a house on
Spot
the
on.
salary of one of these young men? Have you experienced the dating market, been on the dating sites as a young man? No? Interesting, okay. Just wondering. Listen, I know the average age of a Fox News viewer is like 70 nowadays and you need to pander to them, but Tommy, you are like 2 years younger than me. You know this shit isn't true. Why are you talking like this? Why are you talking like a f***ing boomer? I'm sorry, I have no other word for this, but I hate this like generational pick-me shit. I was born in
Well, it's funny because she got famous, or she's making money by talking shit on the internet, right? So I really don't know how you can talk about this subject, because you probably never got a real job, Tommy.
the wrong generation. I'm not like those other young people. And you know what? She's not like those other young people. Not all young people can afford a nice nose job and lip filler and get a cushy job on Fox News based entirely on merit, I'm sure. The main problem with this brain-dead boomer-ass take is not only is it cringe, but it's completely divorced from reality. This slop is specifically designed for people who paid like $5 for a f***ing house. And listen, not all boomers, okay? My parents are boomers, they are lovely people. A lot of you guys are boomers, but when the baby boomer generation sends its people, it is not sending their best. They are not sending you. They're sending people who have lots of problems. They're bringing the housing crisis. They're bringing wage stagnation. They're falling for AI-generated photos on Facebook. But some, I assume, are good people. But my god, I truly believe they do not understand how good they had it. They could support a family on a single income. A single income...
Man, that's what I keep saying. Like, I don't know, 50 years ago, you can work at a Ford factory, you buy a house, you have your wife is stay-at-home mom, you have 1-2 cars, and everything's okay. Now look, nowadays, in Canada, you make 120k a year, and it's not enough for your wife to stay at home with your kids. So then you have to pay like crazy amount for the daycare. Obviously, if your wife doesn't stay at home, you need second car. That means second insurance. And in the end, she's gonna make only like few bucks extra because of the expenses and all of this BS, right? Like, it's crazy if you think that in Canada, 120k is not enough to cover your bills, to have good food on the table, all of it, right? Talking about stay-at-home mom, that's out of the window. For that, you need to make at least 200k. Like, how ridiculous it is, and they're gonna blame the young guys. And another thing is, okay, if young guy stays at home with their parents until he's 26, 30 years old, right? But he works, the girl won't choose him. You can have, like, you grow with your job, right? Like, there's just few young guys that gets high paid job as their first job. So I don't know. And I actually think it's a smart decision to stay at home if you're not able to afford comfortably rent. So let's say if you make, I don't know, 50k a year, what's better for you? To stay at home, live with your parents, try to save for down payment or emergency fund, or just go live alone where you pretty much just pay for the bed for the night because you work so much that you don't even enjoy that apartment and you're just wasting money. I don't know, like, you need to be smart about it. And this male loser epidemic sounds like bullshit from the left.
from a job that didn't require a college degree. Their leaders didn't prostitute away their economic future for some cheap plastic shit from China. They inherited the greatest economy known to man, and they pretend it's a paradise that they earned. I just don't understand, like, why don't boomers and spiritual boomers like Tommy Lauren see people struggling and go, wow, I wish I could fix this. They should have it better than I had it. And you wonder why so many millennials and zoomers don't want kids. I want to make the world a better place for my children. I want to make the world a better place for my children. Ugh. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you spoiled brat.
Well, another thing is like that Democrats push on what is it? Pro-choice, right? All of this, like, oh, you got pregnant, well, you can just kill your baby if it's inconvenient for you. And then, yeah, work, have your career first, and then freaking you're 36 and it's not completely safe for you to have a baby, right? Like all of this, they're pushing on all of this, like, agendas that are against traditional family. And if you want traditional family, again, toxic masculinity, it's bad, blah, 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 blah. Like, look how they're pushing on LGBTQ. Look how they're taking jobs from or making it harder for a young male to get a job. It's just ridiculous. They're not even supporting families, nothing. So how do you expect to have kids unless you're like this Tommy whatever, famous, making shit ton of money for sure? But normal people are not able to afford a family. So why are you blaming just the guys? And yes, the women fought for equality, and was it a good decision? Equal rights? For sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Who wouldn't, right? But equal salaries and all of that, well, with that comes some cost. And that cost is, unfortunately, you might not be able to be a stay-at-home mom anymore. And who did that? Whose fault is that?
Children. Not happening.
Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men.
Young men are becoming lazy because they're becoming feminized. So they're becoming lazy because they act more like women? What did she mean by this, chat? I know there's like a decrease in testosterone or something happening, but men are moving right-wing all over the world. Does that correlate with the feminization? Or, I mean, there are suspiciously a lot of far-right femboys, so maybe. But here's the thing, Tammy. There is absolutely no evidence that young women want to start families more than young men. None. Yep. In fact, all the data says the exact opposite. Yeah. According to Pew Research, 64% of women younger than 50 say they just don't want to have children. No reason, they just don't want them. Versus 50% of men who say the same. Another study by Archbridge Institute shows the same. 63% of women without children said they have no desire to have a child, while only 50% of men said the same. For men, the most commonly cited factor was personal finance, but among women, the strongest reason not to have a child was their desire to maintain their personal independence. Basically, they don't want.
That's scary, man. I don't know, I always wanted to have kids. I have kids, thank God. But yeah, like the guy's reason is there, right? And it's so sad because to me it actually shows that I'm not gonna blame women for this. But the thing is, when you're married, you're supposed to support each other. You're not supposed to marry for money, right? You can marry the guy who lives with his parents right now, and eventually you can build a freaking empire if you both work on it, if you both support each other. And that's what I think the marriage is about. Like, both of you give 50%. Sometimes you need to give more, sometimes you can give less. But if you support each other, eventually you're gonna make it. So it shouldn't be like you shouldn't be looking for someone who's gonna, I don't know, you're looking for a 20-year-old guy who's gonna take care of you right now. Well, someone's a little bit delusional, especially if you're a 20-year-old girl and you can't take care of yourself right now. Oh, that's not really equality, right?
want to give up their brunch and mimosas. They've been ass-blasted with propaganda their whole lives, telling them their lives will be ruined, their bodies will be ruined, they'll never have fun again, they'll be miserable forever if they have children. And as someone who has had a children, best decision I've ever made.
Yeah.
10/10, highly recommend, would do it again. But yes, this idea that men are the ones primarily responsible for the low birth rates is laughable. We're laughing over here.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's not really women or men's fault. There are a lot of factors that play into this. But Tommy, I really gotta ask, is it men or is it you?
This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think it might not be us. It might be you. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country.
My friends are successful.
Wow. Yeah, of course it doesn't have anything to do about the circle of your friends, right? Usually the same people kind of attract same people. Like me and my buddy, we have similar opinions, so maybe you're not looking at the right places, or I don't know. I wouldn't blame guys for this.
Men don't give a shit about that. They'd marry a Walmart cashier if she was nice to them.
I think men between the ages of 20 and 30 are not ready, in most cases, for marriage, are usually not ready to be husbands and fathers.
That's a culture.
What do you mean by not ready? Not making enough money, I guess, right? And that's the thing. Like, if the guy between 20 and 30 feels like he's not able to secure the family, they won't go and have a family because they're responsible, or they're trying to be. Yes, they don't have that much life experience like a guy who's 35 or something like that. But yeah, what about women? If you want to get married between 20 and 30, again, you fight for equality. Are you able to support a family, or are you able at least to do 50%? And it's ridiculous to listen to this, because I know my wife's amazing. She's supportive. Like I said, I used to work in Amazon. Obviously, we didn't meet when I was working in Amazon. But then during the COVID, we started working in Amazon because we wanted to save for the house, right? And Amazon was considered as essential. But anyway, I know so many other couples where, again, when someone struggles, the other one will help them. Like, I have one colleague who makes crazy money. Her husband or fiance is making much less. Do you think she divorced him or break up with him for that? No, she's trying to support him, trying to find better job, paying a little bit more on the mortgage than he does because she's making more. And once he's going to be making more money, it's going to flip, right? And that's how it's supposed to be.
Issue. So, look,
No, I would actually, back to your point, I think it's a biological thing.
So let me get this straight. Men are all trash and won't commit and won't leave mommy's basement, and they're destroying the birth rates. But also young men are biologically incapable of commitment and being parents. What? But wait, there's more. She also believes women don't have to bring anything to the table.
And as a woman, I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money. But I don't think a man needs to get something out of it to be a manly man, a protector and a provider. If you think you need to get something out of it, I quite frankly don't consider you a real man.
Never before in history have women demanded so much and offered so little. So before we get...
And that's the thing, right? That's what left did. And I mentioned it before, like left demonized stay-at-home moms as well. They said that, yeah, the guy has toxic masculinity issue if his wife is a stay-at-home mom. Which is ridiculous. Like, what's more important in life than raise your kids? So to me, stay-at-home mom does the most important job in life. And when Tommy is saying that she's not going to give anything in return, look what stay-at-home mom does. Raise the kids, cooks for the kids, cooks for the husband, cleans the house, all of it. And that's all in return. She can do it thanks to husband making enough money so she can stay home. I'm not saying stay-at-home mom wants to clean the house all the time. It's pain in the ass, right? But raising the kids, like, it's literally being stay-at-home mom is job. And it's the most important job. And Tom is saying that she doesn't have to give anything in return, and her husband or boyfriend, whatever, will take care of everything. That's just ridiculous. So what? You want to be... How are you different than all of these, how did they call it, stay-at-home sons? How are you different? They are at least going to some work, trying to pay for their own groceries, I guess.
Deeper into this retarded, manufactured, stay-at-home son narrative, let's check the Facebook comments of this Fox News video, because I am really interested to see, what, like, the typical Fox News viewer thinks about this. If the women are anything like these two, I can hardly blame the men for staying home and not wanting to date them. Blame, blame, blame.
Yeah.
These two women have a combined age of 93, and they have 0 children between both of them. You both have repugnant personality types, so listening to this was like male birth control to me. My goodness! Boomers are ruthless! Bunch of sissies. I served 6 years, 2 years in Southeast Asia after Vietnam was over. When I was 18, rent was $450 and I could afford to get my own place.
Yeah.
She's so spot on. Nothing screams I'm a loser run from me than a guy living at home in his parents' house with his 12-year-old boy's bedroom decor at age of 30. Thank God we raised our sons to be men, who grew up, lived on their own, found their soulmate, got married, bought a beautiful home, and started a family. I was out the door at 18, worked on the assembly line at Dodge and in the Air Force at 19, never went back home. I can't relate to this. Yes, we know
Different
you
times.
people can't relate. We know. But the world has changed. Why can't you people get this through your heads? I will never let my sons stay home. I'm trying to push them out of the nest. Okay, I really gotta ask, is this an Anglo thing? Immediately kicking your kid out when they turn 18 years old? My Mediterranean mind cannot comprehend this. And honestly, why the f would a man leave home, leave his mother's cooking, for a woman who probably can't cook? Not me though. Personally, I can cook amazing homemade meals. I'll have you know I am a great trad wife.
Bone apple teeth.
Now, unfortunately, Tom...
You know, there was this saying, I think it was in the TV show called Lie to Me. Great TV show. If you didn't watch it, watch it. They're saying we all pay for the sex. The prostitutes are at least honest with the price. And watching that Tommy chick, that's spot on. Like, look, I'm not saying go for prostitutes, right? But if you think about it, like, some guys are not able to afford a girlfriend. And whose fault is that? Yeah, again, I'm not going to try to blame anyone, but hey, some of the girls are a little too high maintenance, and if you expect a guy to pay for everything, I don't know. I went on a date with a girl like this. I think we had 3 dates. And then I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No. To me, it should be, again, it shouldn't be 50-50 all the time, but you at least need to see some effort, you know, something like, oh, I'll take this one. And you're like, no, I'll pay for it. But if she's just like, pay, no, fuck that. And unfortunately, that's there's a lot of girls like this. Like, you know, I'm gonna be a little bit personal over here. You know how I knew that my wife is the right one, and it's gonna sound ridiculous, but she bought me a mug out of, I think, was it the Universal Park or whatever is it called? Universal Studios. Anyway, she bought me a mug. I didn't have birthday, I didn't have name day, it wasn't Christmas, nothing like this. Just out of nowhere, she saw it, she thought I'm gonna like it, and she bought it for me. And we were dating for, I think, 2 weeks. I knew she's the one. Because she didn't expect anything from me. for that mug. It wasn't repaying me favor or anything like that. She just saw it and she thought, oh, I wanna make him happy. He would like it, right? To me, that was crazy. I never experienced it before. And I was dating for what, 12 years? Okay, maybe less back then, like 10-year dating experience. Never experienced this, but with my wife. And it's crazy that it's something that is considered to be special. But yeah.
Lauren wasn't the only one pushing this stupid lazy young men go get a job bullshit. Mike Johnson did it referencing 29-year-old men playing video games all day. Steve Scalise did it with 35-year-old men playing video games all day. And just the other night, I saw this on my TV. Again.
A Wall Street Journal headline got our attention. The new dream job for young men, stay-at-home son. It's a phrase that's taken off since 27-year-old Brendan Leo won $59,000 on Jeopardy. And he has a master's degree in political science, but he's unemployed. Grow up, get a job, get a wife, build a family.
Just get a wife, bro.
The question is, why is he unemployed, right? Shouldn't we look into that a little bit more? I don't know.
Just get a job, bro.
Oh, get a job? Yeah. Just get a job? Why don't I strap on my job helmet and squeeze down into a job cannon and fire off into Jobland, where jobs grow on jobbies?
What's this movie?
The term welfare queen must have fell out of fashion with Republicans, because it seems even they know the approved safe demographic to go after now. Because it's very obvious what demographic they are talking about when they say young men in their basements playing video games. This just get a job, lazy attitude is not surprising, but it's especially funny coming from Fox News of all places. Fox News that spends so much time yapping about immigrants taking American jobs. Fox News will talk for years about how Americans are being screwed out of the workforce. But when this issue manifests itself in Gen Z, suddenly it's a moral failure. The fact is, a lot of American jobs held by men are being lost to automation, offshoring, and yes, cheap foreign labor. Companies and billionaires would rather have cheap labor that they can essentially abuse, not pay fair wages to, just good little worker drones who won't unionize, rather than hire American workers for a living wage. The cheaper the labor they hire, the more money they make. I remember when Bernie...
And let's mention one thing, the living wage is not minimum wage, right? So you have these jobs that are minimum wage. Do you really think you're able to rent an apartment for it? No, you might be able to rent a room, but do you think it's gonna sound better if you tell the girl, oh yeah, I share my apartment with 3 other guys? And eventually, if you're okay staying home until you, again, save money for down payment, find a better job, or just make some emergency fund, I think it's a smart decision. And I did not do it. I left my home when I was 19. And there came a lot of issues with that. Because it's not easy. And I rent a room, right? I wasn't able to rent the whole apartment on my own. And eventually, even when I got better job, still not able to rent the apartment on my own.
Sanders called open borders a Koch brothers conspiracy.
Open borders? That's a Koch brothers proposal, which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state.
Where'd that guy go? A lot of these jobs being taken are jobs traditionally held by men, like construction and factory jobs, manual labor work. But it's not just manual labor jobs, it's also the tech industry and business industry, which are careers also mainly held by men. There are many, many examples of this, such as Microsoft recently cutting thousands of American workers while requesting
is she gonna talk about Tesla
H-1B
and
workers this year.
H-1B?
Some of those job
here we
positions
go.
include data scientists, which are 70% men, software developers, which are 80% men, and electronic engineers, which are 90% men, and many more like that. Another example of this was Tesla, where roughly 15,000 American employees were fired in April 2024, and many were replaced with H-1B visa holders. On Twitter, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy tried to chalk this up to these immigrants just simply being the best and the brightest. Yeah, okay. You're paying them less for longer hours and more work, and they're willing to deal with it in order to stay in the country.
Slavery.
It's coercive, exploitative, and, dare I say, not very America first.
Yeah, pretty much you own these people. Like, it's ridiculous because, you know, if you lose the job, you're getting deported unless you find some other job offer. So you're paying them less. It might still be decent money, right? But you can literally do whatever you want with them. Pretty much same like illegal alien.
Conservatives confronted Elon Musk for this last year. He told somebody, and I quote, "Take a big step back and yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend." So when it comes to replacing American workers in manual labor with cheap foreign labor, it's deport, deport, deport. But when it comes to replacing his American workers with cheap foreign labor, it's yourself in the face. Interesting. There's also affirmative action and DEI, which are other things Fox News always pisses and about. But suddenly, when the conversation is about Gen Z men, the demographic of people who are victims of these things, suddenly these things just like don't exist anymore. Then it's, oh, young men are all just lazy. They just want to be in their parents' basement ordering DoorDash and playing video games. But it's not just the brown people taking your jobs.
I feel like there's a tier list for the job hiring, and Caucasian heterosexual male is definitely on the bottom. I'm not really gonna get into it too much, but guess who's second from the bottom? I wonder if second from the bottom is Caucasian heterosexual female, or if it's, let's say, black heterosexual male. I don't know. I wonder.
I am not beating the allegations with this one. The brown people are not taking your jobs, okay? It's not their fault. They're just cheaper. Aim upwards. But it's not just the brown people taking your jobs. It's the women, too. Many of the dying industries are male-dominated, while many of the growing industries are female-dominated, and stigma around these jobs being woman jobs usually stops men from working them. Women are overwhelmingly entering and excelling in college and the workforce, and they're more flexible about job position and pay, while young men usually hold out for higher-paying, higher-position jobs that will make them the breadwinner. Because you see, despite the world progressing and the role of women changing, the role of men has not changed. Every woman is a feminist until the dinner bill comes. But what's crazy is, women might be the ones paying that dinner bill soon. A study from the UK found women aged 22 to 29 earned about 1,000 more annually than men, completely reversing the traditional gender pay gap for this age group. In the US,
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, they want to... It's not about equality anymore. It's kind of like we want to flip the script, right? We want to make more money than guys and everything. But guess what? Someone has to take care of the kids. Like, you can't just decide like, oh yeah, we're gonna be equal. We're gonna be maybe even a little bit better. But that's not how it works. Like, if you want to make more money, that means that that other person has to kind of do everything you did before, everything that was expected from you. And look, the most ridiculous thing, and I live in Canada, right? If you as a woman are earning like crazy salary and then have a kid, guess what's gonna happen? Your family will lose that salary. For if you decide to go on maternity leave for a year, and let's say you make, I don't know, 120, 160K, for a year, you're gonna drop down to 30K. It's just such a BS what's going on over here. Like, yes, I would be all for the same pay, right? It shouldn't be affected by gender. But then in that case, the government need to subsidize that income when you go on maternity leave, when you decide to have kids. And it just proves that it's not about the guys. The issue is not the guys. The issue might be the feminism, government, all of this, right? I don't know.
2022 Pew Research Center analysis showed that women under
issue
30
why we don't have
out-earned
kids,
men in
right?
many metropolitan areas, with median earnings at or above 100% of men's in cities like New York and Washington, D.C. That may not sound like a lot of money now, but it's a growing trend that has never been seen before. It's so bad that it's really starting to affect the dating world. American women have never been this resigned to staying single. They are responding to major demographic shifts, including huge and growing gender gaps in economic and educational attainment, political affiliation, and beliefs about what family should look like. More women than
crazy.
men are attending college, buying houses, and focusing on their friendships and careers over dating and marriage. The challenges of finding a romantic partner have been made more complicated by a growing divide in education and career prospects between men and women. In 2024, 40% of American women ages 25 to 34 had a bachelor's degree, according to Pew, compared to 37% of men. A bachelor's degree increases net lifetime earnings by an estimated $1 million. Women are doing comparatively well when it comes to education in their early years in the labor force, and men are doing comparatively badly. Men's economic struggles seem to be having the biggest effect on women without a college degree, whose marriage rates by 45 have plummeted to 52% for those born between 1930 and 1980, according to research by Cornell University. Young men without a degree are struggling so much as a group that there simply aren't enough with steady jobs and earnings for non-college women to date. Men are...
Let me guess, all of these girls that complain that it's some deadbeat guys, like stay-at-home sons, all of these girls are in their 30s who worked 10 years to get career, and all of the good guys are actually taken. Because look, older successful guy is gonna go for the younger girl, and again, they don't care what they do. So it might be younger girl who's, like they mentioned, cashier in the Walmart. Like once the guy is set, he's gonna go for a younger girl. And all of these girls who worked to have a career, yeah, slim pickings.
Poor, women most affected. Modern women are no longer tied to their gender role. Birth control has freed them from the prison that is their biology, and they are making their own money, sometimes more than men. They can have it all, they can do anything, they can be anything. While at the same time, men are still expected to be the provider.
Yeah.
And more importantly, many men still want to be the provider,
Yeah.
but they can't. And women, though strong and independent, still want men to be the provider.
And as a woman, I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money.
Basically, men are like, we're worried we're not making enough money. And women are like, we're worried men are not making enough money.
Yeah.
Hello class, I am Miss OnHead. I am substituting for your teacher today. She was arrested for molesting a 12-year-old boy. So today we are learning about the graph. This is the growth in productivity versus hourly compensation graph. And you can trace almost everything bad happening in society back to this graph. As you can see, productivity increased while compensation barely grew over the same time period. Notice they tracked very closely up until around 1972. Now, what happened around
Does the compensation include inflation? Because I always wonder about it. We just had a negotiation regarding the new collective agreement. We got like $1 raise comparing to what we had 3-4 years ago, which is just ridiculous.
1972 class. Well, the top marginal tax rate was reduced from 70% in 1964 to 50% by 1981. The federal minimum wage began to stagnate. Income going to the 1% rose from 9% in the 60s to 16% in 2023. CEOs also went from making 20 times more than the average worker to making 350 times more than the average worker. Anything else? Anything else happened?
Hold on. They had 20 times more than us? It's still a lot of money, but now they have... Whoa, that's a huge jump, man.
Around 1972? Yes, Jimmy, that is correct. Women joined the workforce around this time, but
Feminism.
We don't have to get into that today.
Yeah.
The fact is, hard work no longer guarantees success, and the will to work is tied to the fruits of your labor. And young men are fed up today because 90% of that fruit is rotten. Now, is there some truth to modern young people being lazy? Sure,
yeah,
I guess.
sure.
Every generation had lazy people. And we do basically live in late-stage mouse utopia, after all. Young people today are faced with two options: revolution or escapism. And a lot of them are choosing escapism. Many have basically given up, but it's not like they didn't try. They tried and they found out the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, whether it's college, dating, or the job market. And in a way, many young men are kind of choosing revolution. The never before seen large shift rightward in young men is a small revolution in a way. They're saying, this isn't working for me, this sucks, I hate this, I want something different. This is also manifesting on the Democrat side in general. The young men that are still voting left are voting further left. You saw this recently in New York City, where Zoran Mamdani, a self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist, won the Democratic primaries. Young men are tired of the establishment, left and right. They're tired of the system, and they want to burn it down and start again. They want something that works for them, because this is not working for them.
If you wake up one morning and you find yourself in a society where 23-year-olds with 4-year college degrees and like initiative who aren't smoking weed every day, if they can't make enough to buy a car, much less a home, much less get married, much less have children, then why should you be surprised when half of them say they prefer socialism?
Huh. Fox News should hire that guy. There is an entire generation of fighting-aged men who are enraged and feel like they have nothing to live for. You should probably start caring. When they saw this airing on Fox News, they saw an angry woman nagging in their faces about how everything wrong in the world is their fault. An all too familiar thing they have been hearing for far too long. But unfortunately for Democrats, nobody under the age of 60 watches Fox News, so this is not really going to have an effect on young men whatsoever. So keep that $20 million. You might still need it, unless we get dragged into another war in the Middle East. If we do get dragged into another war in the Middle East, young men might come running back to the Democratic Party. Maybe not even a George Bush II electric boogaloo will have men coming back to the Democratic Party. Hopefully we don't find out. And as I'm editing this right now, a lot of young people, even the podcast bros, seem pretty upset about the Epstein thing, but we know Democrats won't take advantage of the situation in order to protect the Clintons, so maybe not even this will save them, but we'll see.
Oh man, what Democrats are doing about Epstein is ridiculous. Out of nowhere, it's like, oh, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. Again, don't get me wrong, I disagree with his decision on Epstein files. I think it's big loss, and he needs to fix it somehow. But hey, what did Biden did about Epstein files in those 4 years?
I guess. Hold on one second.
Oh.
That's better. So that was that video. What do you think of the male loser epidemic? Do you agree with Tommy Lauren? Is it all men's fault? Leave your comments below. I read them all. I am probably reading them right now as you type them. Wait, don't write that. No. You can't say that. No, it doesn't matter if it's with an A. If you like this video, please subscribe, and if you can, donate to me on Patreon or leave a little tip with the little tip jar down below. I'll give it a little heart. It helps the channel, and I appreciate it so much. And I will see you guys again soon with a new video, a new slop video, because I know you gremlins love that shit. Bye!
Male loser epidemic. What do I think? I think it's definitely a fault of government. I don't think it changed much comparing to, I don't know, 20 years ago, right? The difference is that now stuff is less affordable, and if we talk about male loser specifically, I don't think the stay-at-home son is loser as long as he has a job, trying to get a job, trying to work towards something, right? But honestly, if you're stay-at-home son who's just mooching on your parents, that's different story.